Hey guys, it's Kimberly, and I'm back with you for another creepy, scary story reading, telling thing. I don't know. I am reading parts 3 and 4, maybe more, of the I Followed Myself on Instagram story. Last time I checked there were only 4 parts, but if there's more now, I wouldn't know because I'm also reading it as I'm telling it to you guys for the first time, so all of my reactions and stuff, they're in the moment. Yeah, so let's just get right into this story. Hey everyone, I'm really sorry it's been a while. I've had a lot on my mind, and not just what's going on with the doppelganger. I didn't sleep a wink last night, and I'm not thinking I'll sleep very soundly tonight either. If you don't know what's going on, I'll leave a link above to what's happened so far. After posting the last update, working up the courage to talk to Hannah was easier said than done. If any of you are wondering if I've seen the other me since then, I have. Pictures keep being posted. I'll be walking down the street and get a push notification. I've made sure that it is disabled, but it comes through anyways. And see a picture of me walking with half of the doppelganger's face in view. He's always smiling. Now, something somebody said really infuriated me, but after what happened last night, I may need to open my mind. I'm not going to say what it is that they said, but you'll get the idea by the end. I was sitting at the kitchen table last night trying to come up with a way to tell her what's been happening. I was shaking with anxiety, and I could feel sweat forming on my forehead. My phone buzzed, and I pulled it up expecting to see another picture from the account, but instead, it was a direct message from him. I hadn't got any messages since the day at the coffee shop, so I was very wary to look. But I'm starting to think I may have to. I opened the message and was met with a picture of my wife walking to the car. The picture was taken from about 100 feet or so from her. There was only one caption underneath to complete the message. Watch. Confused, I glared at the image, not sure of what to think. This is the first picture I've received where it wasn't of me. Plus, what the hell does watch mean? My heart started beating a bit faster, as I thought maybe it didn't want to harm me at all, and only wanted her. What was I then? Was I helping? Just then, I heard the front door rattle and open. Hannah came through, and just as she was walking into the kitchen to greet me, my phone vibrated again. Without thinking, I opened the notification and was brought back to the doppelganger's page. A new picture showed another grave in the same cemetery as before. I was standing next to it, looking down sadly. I can even see a tear rolling down my cheek. John, what are you looking at? I ignored her for only a moment more to read the front of the stone. John Lee Marsh, born March 2nd, 1996. Death, April 25th, 2018. I looked up from my phone and Hannah was looking at me, waiting for a response. I stammered. She calmly sat down across from me. John, what's wrong? You've been acting so odd lately. Please talk to me. I saw my moment and knew that now had to be when I told her. There was no delicate way to put it, so I cleared my throat and said the only things I knew how to say. I followed myself on Instagram. She looked at me oddly, waiting for me to continue, so I did. I told her everything that had been going on the last couple of days. When I saw the account follow me, the pictures it posted, the messages, even when I rewatched our first date in third person at the coffee shop, and how it chased me home. I tried to keep calm the whole time to show her I was serious. My voice wavered at a couple places, but I successfully fought off the tears. When I talked, she watched me with a blank expression that was very difficult to read. When I finished, she looked up at me inquisitively. as if to study me. She looked down and only whispered one thing. "I think you need help." I rolled my eyes. I knew I wasn't crazy. I felt frustration boiling. I had the proof on my phone. I could show her if she'd just look at me. She kept her head down and wouldn't look up. I pulled up the messages I was just sent and thanked God that it was actually still there. "Hannah, look at me." She did not. I felt myself getting more upset, but tried to keep my wits about me. "I can show you. Look at me." She finally jerked up and I dropped my phone. We stared at each other for a moment in silence. I sighed and heard her start to get up, but I held up my hand. She stopped and I started to speak. "I'm sorry," I yelled. "I just need you to believe me. I understand it sounds crazy, but I'm not fucking around." She looked at me, then glanced away quickly. She started getting up, and I heard her say under her breath, "I think you're going crazy." I angrily stood up, and she looked back at me once more. "You're supposed to be here for me," I said. "Are you still in there?" We looked at each other for a very long time then. I knew she didn't know what to say. Hell, I didn't know what to say either. She finally turned and walked into the other room. She went upstairs, and I heard her shut the door to the bedroom. I sat there for a moment and took in what she said. I had been entertaining the thought that I might be crazy. I have no mental illness in my family, but could it start with me? Are there people in my family who are sick that my parents neglected to tell me about? At the end of the day, I know these questions are useless. Because even if I am crazy, I just can't ignore that her eyes were black when she was looking up at me. "Excuse me? Excuse me? Her eyes were black when she looked at you? What? What is this girl? What is she doing? Let's keep going to part 4 because I'm very, very confused. And what? No. Okay. Part 4. What are you?" These words were the first things I said to Hannah right before she was about to leave. I sat in the corner in the love seat, my rifle drawn. I had slept downstairs and had already been up for 2 hours. I know what I saw last night and knew this had to come to the end. She didn't react much when she saw me, and that told me everything in itself. I kept my wits about me and waited for my wife to respond. "John, please," was all she said. "Your eyes," I began. "They turned black last night. Either you're not the woman I married, or the woman I married isn't what I thought she is. So, which is it?" She slowly held up her hand and took a couple steps towards me. I raised the gun to show her I was serious, but it didn't stop her. "I'm not trying to hurt you, John," she said. "I love you, I do. But there are some things you don't know about me." "I'll say," I said quickly. She stopped then, staring at me intently. The air seemed to thicken as we glared at each other. I felt the sound leave as both my ears began to ring. I tried to ignore it and keep the gun pointed. What the fuck is going on? I thought to myself. Just then, Hannah blinked quickly and her eyes were black once more. The ringing began to grow as I tried to speak over it, though I'm sure I was shouting. "Don't do it, Hannah," I screamed. "Please just don't." I was prepared to do what I had to do. But now that it looked like I may have to kill my wife, tears were streaming down my face. I loved her so much. She was my everything, but clearly she was not who she said she was, or even what she said she was. Hannah was about 6 feet from me when it happened. Her right hand lashed out and stretched, just like the elongated limbs of the doppelganger from the street. I knew the time had come to do what I had to do, but I couldn't. When I saw her hand coming for me, I dropped the gun and held up my own hands in defense. This was it. This was the end of my days. I braced for anything at all. Nothing ever came. I stayed in my defensive pose for a few seconds until my hearing came back over the ringing. When it did, I could hear something odd just to my left. I slowly turned and my blood ran cold at what I saw. The doppelganger was standing behind the love seat, all limbs stretched out. Its neck had broken and come around, and it appeared it was about to bite me, but Hannah stopped it. Her hand had its head pressed against the wall as it clawed at her, trying to break free. I heard something from in front of me and saw that Hannah was saying something, but her appearance horrified me. Her limbs were slowly stretching out, and her mouth had stretched out all the way to her ears. Literally. Her lips started at the bottom of one ear and ended at the other. I could see she was also crying, ashamed of what I was seeing. I finally stopped looking long enough to hear what she was saying. "Go. The woods. Go." I got up, but as I started to run, the ringing came back. I fell to the floor as Hannah lunged behind me. I could feel the vibrations of the fight going on behind me. The further I crawled, the more I could hear, and some of the sounds were very inhumane. The growling made the hair on my arm stand as I knew they may be coming from Hannah. I was finally able to get to my feet, and I sprinted out of the back door. I could see the edge of the woods as I ran as hard as I ever have. I heard the ringing come back and dropped to the ground. I stole a look behind me and froze in fear as the thing came towards me. It didn't look like me anymore. It didn't even look human. It crawled rapidly towards me, and before I knew it, it was looming over me. Its jaw unhinged even more, and it started coming down. Right before I blacked out, I saw another hand go to its neck. When I woke up, my body ached like it never has before. I stared straight up and was confused at first. I could hear the crackle of a fire to my left, and what little it illuminated gave me enough to know where I was. In a cave. I was able to shift my body towards the fire, and I could see Hannah watching just beyond it. When she saw I was completely awake, she quickly made her way to me. I was going to move away from her, but groaned in pain when I tried. "No, no, no, baby. Don't move." She kneeled beside me, and I shot her a look. She had saved me, yes, but I had to know. "I want answers," I said. She looked at me for a moment and bit her lip. She saw in my eyes that I meant it, and she began to tell me everything. It's obvious by now she's not human, but hearing her say it still hit me the wrong way. She claimed they really didn't call themselves anything. She had grown up in Germany, that I knew, but she told me the real version this time. It was in the thick forest where they were. On top of that, they stop aging once they reach around 25. Her story took place around 1884. They fed on everything and anything, but some of them were starting to divide, as not all of them enjoyed feeding on humans. Some of them were forming relationships, both romantic and friendly, with them. Some had to occasionally go into town in human form and met many that made them look differently about what they were doing. Hannah's family were part of the few who wanted to actually be human. They ended up fleeing to America after posing as humans for about 20 years in a village. The others kept killing any human they formed a friendship with. She revealed to me that her true age was 143. She kept quiet for years, afraid that anyone they came close to would be killed somehow. Though they knew they all remained in Germany. Eventually, things seemed to calm down, and they started acclaiming to human life. She claimed that their abilities, aside from reverting to their natural form, included the ability to alter certain parts of reality or force hallucinations, which is how I saw the pictures and the date at the coffee shop. "I was gonna tell you, John," she said. "Obviously I would have when you start hitting middle age and I still look the same." She tried to crack a smile, but I just couldn't. She continued. "It's also the reason you haven't met Mom and Dad. They're not actually still in Germany. They live in Ohio. I've already gotten in touch with them, and once you're feeling better, that's where we're going. Just be warned, they're gonna look our age, but they're well above 200 years old." I nodded, not knowing what else to do. "I was in denial that night you tried to talk to me," she said. "I didn't want to believe that they had found us, but they have. I promise, John, I'm not going to let them hurt you." I looked up at her. I felt at ease. She did love me. I could feel it. But this new information was a lot to take in. We've been staying in the cave the last couple of days, and I'm feeling much better. We're gonna get a hotel tonight so we can clean up, and it's to her parents in the morning. This has become much bigger than I could have ever imagined, and I hope you guys are ready to hear it. Something tells me this is far from over, and it's not gonna be an easy journey. Excuse me? So I'm assuming it's not over yet. I'm really hoping it's not over yet. I mean, it definitely does not seem like it's over yet. I need to, like, stay and find out what happens. Oh my gosh. I'm, like, low-key kind of confused, but at the same time, I'm so interested. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is the end for the right now, guys. I might have a different story for you guys next week, if this one doesn't get updated anytime soon, but I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, if you like me, subscribe to my channel, give me a like on this video, comment some scary stories or something you'd like me to read down in the comments below, follow my social media, and I think that's it. Huge shout out to this author, Lost on Space. I will leave the link down in the description for this story because oh my gosh, it's freaking incredible. Yeah, and I guess I will see you guys next time.